Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I'm Scott, your host, to usher you into the weekend. It is July. It is not necessarily the first weekend in July, because I hope you guys had a great July 4th. There's just a lot going on here and there. I don't have any city counts for you guys, because this week was kind of like a bye week for a lot of government kind of grouping and committee meetings and stuff like that. So it's going to be a pretty short show. So let's jump right in. Some crazy news happening from around the world. The former Prime Minister of Japan was assassinated just Friday at a campaign rally in Nara, Japan. Shinzo Abe was shot by a makeshift shotgun. Japan has very strict restrictive gun laws, but this homemade weapon was used against him successfully during his speech. Two loud booms rang out, and Shinzo Abe was rushed to the hospital but succumbed to his injuries. Abe was known as the longest-serving prime minister, serving from 2006 to 2007, and then again from 2012 to 2020, and has been a big part of Japan and militarizing a lot of different things and trying to kind of like have a big warning in of the potential. See, I'm talking very carefully because it's like Japan is extremely worried about how China's getting bigger and bigger, and they're worried that Taiwan might be a precursor to global scale invasion kind of deal. So Ukraine really has also been in the news, hasn't been in the news quite as much, even though the war is still rages on as Russia takes massive ground. The eastern Donbass region in Ukraine may lose yet another major city, Donetsk, which seems likely Putin will have liberated Donbass, but will he stop there? There is no telling where this conflict will stop, but as we tie in the two countries together, there's many speculation that Japan thinks that the U.S. should intervene in the case of an invasion of Taiwan. Is one of those places that Japan considers a precursor to an invasion by China. So there's a lot of kind of like going one way to one way. It's all speculation at this point. But the Ukraine conflict spurred a lot of hate towards Russia, and many places like China and India are still openly trading with those countries regardless of the West's attempt to stop the conflict through sanctions. All in all, the gas prices in the U.S. have done little to continue the pressure on Putin and the Kremlin as a whole. One of the things is that economically, it seems like Russia is starting to sustain. JP Morgan, the trading company, has reported that Russia will only shrink by 3.5% economically this year. Regardless of the sanctions, the demand for price of natural gas has shot up according to U.S. Energy, and Russia is a big proponent on selling a lot of their natural gas. They don't necessarily use natural gas, but they do sell a lot of it to a lot of the Western countries. Germany, for one, buys up about 40% of the natural gas from Russia to power there. So in Germany, the other news is that they'll be dealing with rolling blackouts, skyrocketing prices with natural gas, and this is just natural gas. This has nothing to do with what our gasoline prices is all about. However, the thing about punishments is that those dishing out the punishments have to deal with the consequences as long as Russia's economy continues. This war will too. The West tried to hurt Putin where it hurt the money, but then they recovered and had kind of waned themselves off their global economy, which in America we see the pressures of this war waning on our gas prices as well. So let's move on to something that happened this week as well, not just something that's continuation and just kind of connecting the dots in the global market and the global scale. Hyde Park, Illinois, I'm sure you guys heard about this mass shooting that happened on July 4th, is one of those half a dozen mass shootings that happened according to the gun violence according to a gun violence group over the 4th of July weekend. This was from a report on NPR. State by state, it seems many efforts are being put into place as they're trying to work with new gun laws that are being put into place from the top down to figure out exactly what happened and how they're going to go about moving forward with this particular thing. But at the same time, it's the same thing. It was a shock to most people. So one of the things that are also happening is that we are also reeling from the fact that Roe was repealed, and state by state, it seems many efforts are being put in place to either protect abortion rights or straight up ban them. For those banning them, a couple of the Supreme Courts in the regions are taking action to temporarily block trigger bans because they are under scrutiny of laws which require a period of effectiveness before leasing of their local clinics. Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, South Dakota, Wisconsin are among the states that went into effect without being blocked altogether. Louisiana has some state judge blocked the trigger law, stating that the law was unconstitutionally vague. Utah has delayed it for the 14 days. Oklahoma has also looking to overturn their trigger law, like the other states that outright banned abortion in a century-old law that were put in place before Roe and Wade suspended this law. So there's just a lot of old laws that were put into place that outright banned abortion, even before Roe and Wade was federally recognized from the Supreme Court in '73. And so some of the states kind of fell back on some of those old laws, and some of the local Supreme Courts, even some lawyers are coming forward to be like, okay, so some of these laws are old, so the states are kind of now at a weird kind of place. I mean, in other words, it's kind of like, how does this affect Montana? Because in Montana, our state constitution was also drafted in the 70s, pretty much around the same time as Roe v. Wade. So at that time, there was a lot of pressure to put on people to be like, hey, you know, we got to protect people's life and dignity. And that was one of the big things about Montana's constitution, is that whatever people did in the privacy of their own home, in the privacy of their business, their life, and everything like that, is their own business. And that's what Montana was big forefront about, complete and utter independence without the man coming down on you, basically. So that's kind of like a runaround thing. And just, you know, it's interesting kind of how like a lot of these other states already have what's called the heartbeat law, which, you know, is the concept of, you know, when you hear the heartbeat in the fetus, you know, a lot of times even some states have this whole 6-week abortion ban. So like if you're pregnant for 6 weeks, you know, you are not allowed to get an abortion. So one of the other things that also you should also know is that women only have their periods every 4 weeks. So if they're late, maybe a week or two after the fact, and then they actually go and see if they're pregnant, they still have to go through the time to decide whether or not they're going to have it. And by the time they go through all these processes, there's always that weird kind of period of whether or not it'll happen. So just curving the whole idea. So I'm sure you've heard many other ideas that the Supreme Court has, but frankly, I want to kind of leave it here. You know, the Supreme Court's already looking to repeal a lot of other things into the future, and many people are worried about the sanctity of gay marriage and stuff like that. So this has become a state-by-state issue that the only way the U.S. can protect women's right would be create an amendment from our Bill of Rights of our Constitution. So, of course, I'm spitballing here. The amendment, the last amendment that was passed was in '92, and it was basically to give Congress a raise but these raises would only enact for the next term. So it's really not that big of a deal compared to all the other amendments that would be, you know, like freedom of speech, right to bear arms, you know, right to freedom of religion, expression, all that stuff. So, you know, it's just one of the things being, I mean, a national amendment in our Constitution, you know, it's interesting because, you know, like women have only had any kind of say in the Constitution when they got the vote, and that was only about 100 years ago too. So I would say that the next amendment should also update our First Amendment, not only the concept of freedom of speech, religion, and so forth, but include the private citizen pursuit of life and Montana's Constitution, dignity. That's the concept of privacy and what people do, and basically just kind of leave them alone from what they want to do, as long as it doesn't infringe on another person's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and dignity. So think about it like that. I don't know, I'm kind of ranting here, but that's kind of what I'm going off of right now, just kind of a little bit of history with a lot of just kind of like what's happening in today's day and age. So, all right, so let's kind of switch gears completely and throw it over to Pizza Squirrel. Hey, we got a pizza squirrel here in the Missoula Public Library, and I think that's pretty newsworthy for my show. Oh, wrong one. All right, you gotta laugh at the little things, you know? Pizza squirrel, carrying a pizza around, you gotta watch out for pizza squirrel. And one of my things that I'm really curious about is, how did that squirrel get a pizza that early in the morning? So I got to say that maybe the pizza squirrel got the pizza earlier from the night before. Hey, just from the angle from what I've seen on that particular pizza, I'm very invested in this story. But anyways, pizza squirrel. Cool. Anyways, up next we have some highlights of last year's summer camps. There's still some room available for some of our afternoon camps, so you can go on to mcat.org to find out more information about these times and the things that are available for your kids. Roughly aged about 18 to 14, a lot of animation camps that are happening starting next week. So without further ado, here's some of the videos from last year's summer camps.
Wow! Yeah! What?
Might those be the foxes and the greens from up on the hill there? Very nice, very nice. My dear, do you happen to live there?
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I can get you some very nice things. Very nice indeed. Come along then.
I don't trust this guy. He seems pretty suspicious. What do you mean? He's totally trustworthy. You're just being silly. Am I?
I've got to get rid of that farm boy. He'll ruin everything, and then I won't be able to make my hotel mall highway. The farm boy must die. I must hire an assassin. I hear you're the very nicest of the very nice. I need you to make a farm boy commit die. As the deal stands now, I am trading $100 million. Assassin! No. Go. This isn't part of the deal. Get out of here. Yes. Give me your farm willingly. I will take it from your cold, dead hand. All I wanted to do was be a good businessman.
Hey guys.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Do I Just Drew Junior? Junior? Do I Just Drew Junior? Yeah, nice job. Wow, that was quick.
All right.
That was really good.
One last shot of the
Cappuccino. That was great.
We're gonna go check these out now. Once again, a hero rises.
Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk about this and that. It's time for pre-critic, where I prejudge a movie whether it needs it or not. We're kicking things off with, yes, pizza. It's pizza time. Basically a buddy comedy turned into a romance rom-com as Thor, God of Thunder joins a tag team after his first team kind of kicks him out for being too awesome. Chris Hemsworth stars in this film about being relevant enough before he does the Hulk Hogan biopic and perhaps makes it too big. Probably gets an Oscar. I don't know. Anyways, take your Thor sexual partners to this movie that will show the hard work that Chris has made during the pandemic. Quite a bit, because there were some people who let themselves go and those who let themselves get carried away with their workouts, which we're all the better for it, I guess, plot-wise. Is this relevant to the plot? Anyways, let's talk about the plot. Evil bad guy wants to kill all the gods. Thor's on the chopping block, other gods are on the chopping block, and we have a series of deaths and race against time before Lady Thor wins in the end at the great cost of professional himbo Chris Hemsworth. Up next, we got a foreign film. And, you know, foreign films deserve love because you have no idea how it's going to end, because in Hollywood fashion, you always expect what's going to happen. So, Marina, it kind of sounds like it's about water and stuff. And yes, it is about water, boating and fishing and swimming and stuff like this. But anyways, movie, basically daddy issues start off to pursue an older man who's rich to escape from her father's toxic abusive relationship. Kind of sounds familiar. I mean, I have no idea what to expect from this foreign film, but this is why I can assume that she suffers from teenage angst by her blazing her own trail through this rich guys who control her just as much as her dad, but with sex. It's a foreign film. Sex is guaranteed unless it's forbidden love, which is usually spent with 2 hours of them will they or won't they, and then one of them dies or something. Anyways, foreign films. And all right, up next we got a series of short of movies that are coming out as well that you probably won't see or never heard of. Let's go through them as fast as you will forget about them. Take the Night. Never pull a prank on a gang member because fake kidnapping plots never work out the way you think, and especially if they're all gang full of scary people. Happy Birthday from gangs, mobs, and all those heroes rolls eyes. Then we got Moon, 66 questions. First questions, why such a specific title that no one will, pass by? Anyways, the only way for this young spunker girl to get her father to communicate as he begins to lose speech and slowly die. Enjoy a bummer of a movie taking care of your parents. Up next, we got Cop Secret, Iceland's toughest cop, which isn't really saying much. Basically, Dirty Harry with bank robbers and the new rookie cop cliche. And it's in Iceland. Woo! So those are the movies that are coming out. Up next, we have a movie dubbin stuff from the 1942 movie, Bowery at Midnight. I swear to you guys, I'm 5'11". Man, I can eat off your head like a plate.
Wait a second. If he's taller,
I am very tall.
Make us
You have
taller?
to believe me. 5'11". 5'11", please. It's
How'd you know he wasn't 5'11"?
Because I'm 5'11". Oh, come on now. Who puts a map here? Australia, obviously. Ooh, TV. Let's see what's on. Alright, filing cabinets. I love filing cabinets. Alright, but this is the last time I'm gonna change for you, okay? I think you look smashing, darling. Smashing good? I've never heard that before. From my country, it means a compliment. So like what? Vermont? I have to visit Vermont. Oh no, think more across the pond. Huh.
Think foggy.
Michigan, eh?
I have a Lake Superior joke.
Huh. No, I don't really want to hear it if you don't mind.
You don't insult the power of the Great Lakes. What makes you so great, huh?
Well, I'm a nihilist. I don't care about anything these days.
Oh, are you sure you're not a sadist? Because I think you're making fun of me.
Oh, no. I'm not making fun of you. There's absolutely no fun when it comes to me. I'm a real buzzkill. I don't really much believe in heaven, but I pray there ain't no hell. But
Are you seriously talking about that one song?
nah, I think you're crazy. I made that whole thing up.
Did I?
Huh?
Do you think we should ask the audience?
What does the audience know? They're not watching us with their glorified large radio with a television
How does
screen
he
on there,
know?
which looks like it's superimposed an image on there, which is why it's perfectly clear, but not quite. Honestly, a perfect ending. Just have complete another silence in a room tone for that. You know, it was just kind of perfect because there's just so much things happening there, and yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite dubbin stuffs. I'll look back on that fondly, but then I might just look back on it and be like, whatever. But anyways, City Council. If you are interested in learning more about your City Council, I'm just going to go a brief kind of overview with City Council since I don't actually have clips for you guys. Specifically because there were no particular meetings this week. July 4th week, a lot of different vacation, a lot of different things going on here. And there's really not much going on in July because technically that is the start of a fiscal year for MCAT as well. So there's it's interesting just to kind of look at this, but if you're interested in finding out more about your local city council, government, permits, and more, you can go to ci.missoula.mt.us. It is a wonderful resource for looking up upcoming agenda items, past meetings, looking at some footage. If you made a public comment, you'll be able to look that up here as well. So you go to meetings, this little meetings tab right here, it brings you into another page. I usually do calendar view because it kind of shows you the day by day and you can look it up ahead and everything like that. Usually they plan city council meetings on the end of Friday, so you're not going to see much here. You know, there was the Transportation Technical Advisory Committee, Cemetery Board. There's really not a lot going on this particular week, but there's a lot of things that are being planned upcoming in the city council as well. So you can look that up by going to ci.missoula.mt.us. Again, just look up City of Missoula on your search engine and you should be able to find this website. All right now we're gonna jump right into your events. And you know, if you're interested in finding out more what's going on in Missoula, you know, this is a great resource for a lot of organizations, a lot of nonprofits, government organizations use this website as a tool to kind of get the word out on events, even ongoing events happening in Missoula. MissoulaEvents.net is a great resource for that as well. So I'm going to jump right in and we're going to kick things off. And I want to also to mention that the library is closed for today. It is closed for staff training. And so as of most of today of Friday, I don't have any events for you guys to enjoy here at the public library, but you guys can go out and about to many of the venues across the city of Missoula. In Power Place, which is a venue run through the public library and Spectrum Discovery Center. It's located at the Missoula Food Bank. Missoula Food Bank is also a community center. It's a great resource for a lot of people to take some cooking classes, get some food on the cheap, and they are also a hand-learned learning center located at Missoula Food Bank, a community center dedicated to nourishing the bodies and minds of our local children and families. One part community center, one part science museum, and one part food hub, and also part library. There's just a lot of different things for a lot of everybody, and this is at the Missoula Food Bank off of Wyoming Street. It's kitty corner to the only bowling alley in Missoula, West Side Lanes. All right. There you go. There's the North State Line lake cleanup. So if you're interested in, you know, like you don't want to go onto the river, you know, like they always have these kind of clean pools where they gather people together and do a community cleanup. And this is what they're doing, part of the Great Burn Conservation Alliance. Hub, Hazel, and Clear Lakes are popular lakes that lie in the beautiful Ward Eagle Inventory roadside along the Montana-Idaho border. They will access the lake's basin via the short hike through the prison growth forests. Many volunteers will help remove an abandoned canoe at Clear Lake, rehabilitate campsites at Hub Lake, climb a peak or two, pull weeds along the way, and minimize campsites. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty extensive hike in the I believe it's called the Lolo National Forest kind of area, and so this will be a great opportunity for a lot of people just looking to volunteer. You got your Lolo's Farmers Market happening too in the afternoon this Friday, as well as MCT is hosting Pinocchio for the children's plays. So every week this summer they're doing all sorts of different plays. Missoula Children's Theater are also hosting a Pinocchio play. There's one show at 4 p.m. and one show at 6 p.m. and they have two different casts. They have a lot of kids that do these kind of shows, so make sure you have the right time for your kids. So if you're interested in going out and about tonight as well, be aware that Joan Zen, she's going to be playing at the Union Club tonight, starting at 9 p.m. You got Lust for Glory. It's going to be at Monk's. It's going to be some rock miscellaneous music. You got also have a night of space age rock, which will also be at Monk's. You have dueling pianos at Save and Hoop. And one of the other things is that the Westside Theater is hosting a beginner aerial dance workshop. So if you're like the aerial silks and you see some people kind of hanging from the bridge a couple years ago and interested in doing some high acrobat kind of skills, they are doing some beginner classes starting tonight at 7:15, and there's just a lot of different things happening tonight, as well as a kind of like a 4-day Osprey, actually former Osprey paddleheads or Grin Park baseball field events happening all weekend long. So there's a lot of chances to go see the baseball happening this weekend as well. So speaking of the weekend, actually we're not going to talk about the weekend quite yet. We're actually going to talk a little bit about some First Friday spillover because a lot of places they didn't realize that I guess First Friday was July 1st, but I guess they just threw it over here. So we're going to give them a little bit of love before we continue with our events. Kicking things off is at the Clay Studio of Missoula, starting today at 5 p.m. Their July exhibition features works from Sarah Catapano. Sarah's biomorphic ceramic sculptures combine aspects of flora and fauna to create bizarre forms that seem both familiar and alien. She's attracted to Doctermites while she's designing her pieces, juxtaposing fleshly pump rippled skin against skeleton tendrils that combine and challenge reality with sci-fi in each piece. Definitely worth a check out. Then we got another art installation. I talked about this a little bit about this. It's Todd Forsgren. He's going to be at the Missoula Art Museum well until this month. I showed a video, and I'll probably show a video just before I wrap up my show, just to kind of give you a taste of some art happening in and around the city of Missoula. So then we got Murals for Missoula. This is going to be at Alez Missoula, which for Murals of Missoula is happening in July. This exhibit is dedicated to creating an opportunity to boost Missoula's nonprofit with a unique avenue of outreach and fundraising efforts. The nonprofit featured in the show are the Janet Rankin Foundation, Opportunity Resource Summit, Independent Living, and the Zootown Arts Community Center. All these Missoula nonprofits work to create and foster growth in the community and are using painting, photography, and mosaic art forms to educate and illustrate their mission for strengthening our community. So a lot of arts happening in and around the city of Missoula, even after the official First Friday, but this is a nice little spillover for First Friday as well. So let's jump right in some more with happening continuation, which is the Lincoln Bike Rally. So if you're interested in going all the way up to Lincoln, they have a bunch of concerts, a bunch of music. It's kind of like their own little Lincoln Days, Territorial Days, Ronin Days. Please join another Flow for Awaken for the Heart of Rocky Mountains, Lincoln, Montana. They'll have an amazing concert put on by Overtime and Austin Martin. Both are from Montana. The rest of the weekend is full of busy activities, fun run, live music, bike shows, bike wash, and live auctions, and so much more. So if you're interested in going to Lincoln today, that's what's happening this weekend, all weekend long. And like I said, they have the aerial silks, aerial dance workshops. You got the paddleheads happening. First 750 fans to this end gets a free paddlehead shirt that they can tie-dye. It's a tie-dye night happening tonight. So that's kind of what's happening for your Friday. If you're interested in other things happening, Saturday markets are happening this weekend as well. So if you're interested in being part of the farmers market, foods, and all sorts of fun things like that, the River Street Market is at the Carousel. From about 8 a.m. to about 1 p.m. I say about just because, some people might have a later start and some people kind of wrap up pretty early too. So I just want to give you a nice kind of gap area. A lot of them say they go until 2, but just from my own personal experience, about 8:30, 9 o'clock to about 1 o'clock is the prime times happening for the downtown farmers market. Also the River Market and the People's Market just out front of Thomas Mar Bar. So, and the library will be open again this weekend for those wondering if they're going to be open. So they'll be hosting Tiny Tales and story time at 10:30 a.m. upstairs on the second floor. Hellgate High School class of 2002, they're doing the 20-year high school reunion. So if you are a Hellgate High School alumni who graduated in 2002, they have all the information on MissoulaEvents.net. So MCAT is also hosting our dance party from about 11 to 12, and this is going to be in this particular room in our studio here at MCAT. And then we're going to have some virtual reality from about 12 to 2 here as well. So let's see. Saturday kids activities, Sink or Float, Missoula Natural History Center. You can drop in your time between 1 and 3 for hands-on kids activity. Sink or Float is happening this Saturday and on the 23rd of July. They're going to figure out with some objects float, some sink, and swim around in the middle. Try crafting your own diver and learn about how fish maintain neutral buoyancy. Cost is free with membership, and then it's cost of admission. So. Hands-on science, robotic and coding. Spectrum Discovery Center here at the library is doing some guided science activities through the Discovery Bench from 2 to 6, and they usually do this Tuesday through Saturday. They also got a bunch of camps happening here at Spectrum here at the public library, so they got a lot going on this weekend as well. But on Saturday, they're going to be doing some coding and other science activities with an emphasis on robotics as well. So it's a great opportunity for that. Free Cycles is hosting a concert featuring Comic Sans, Partygoer, Western States, 3 great bands at Free Cycles. It's $10 at the door, partly of inside and outside dancing spaces. Show is inside a large gathering room, air purifiers and great airflow to help keep us all healthy. Music, more, and stuff like that. Free Cycles is a nonprofit here in Missoula, and they host these kind of events which are fun and great to go check out, as well as supporting your local area nonprofit where you can build and work on your own bikes if they break. And then, of course, Northside Neighborhood Movie Night kicks off this weekend. So if you're interested in the Northside, if you're interested in going to outdoor movies, Head Start School on the North Side is going to be hosting a series of movies. This time they're doing a documentary called A Decent Home, which addresses the urgent issue of class and economic inequality through the lives of mobile home park residents who can't afford housing anywhere else. The film asks, who are we becoming as Americans? So there's definitely a lot of things happening this weekend as well. I did want to show you guys an art clip before I wrapped up my show. So without further ado, here's this art clip, and I don't think I'm going to come back. So this is from Todd Forsgren, World is Round, and then I'm going to end my show right here. And I thank you guys very much for joining me. If you want to learn more about my show and other things, you can go to mcat.org. You can also find me on my YouTube page. I'm barely responsive to any of the messages that I get on there as well, but you can find me through mcat.org, and you can also contact me directly through MCAT's email, mcat@mcat.org, or you can call us at 542-6228, otherwise known as 542-MCAT, with the area code 406. Anyways, without further ado, here is an art clip, and I thank you guys for joining me. Take care.